Welcome back to Reimagine 2020. I'm Yonah Hochhauser, and I'm glad to be joined today by Navid Quraishi, Senior Business Development Consultant at R² Data Labs, and Gennie Neo, Venturing and Incubation Lead for R² Data Labs as well. Guys, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Yonah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, Navid, first question to you. R² Data Labs is connected to Rolls-Royce. That's where the R² comes from. Tell me a little bit about how R² fits into Rolls-Royce and your guys' goal there.
Fantastic. Thank you for that question. So let me start with talking about Rolls-Royce, who we are and what we do. Rolls-Royce is focused on pioneering the power that matters. Rolls-Royce pioneers cutting-edge technologies that deliver clean, safe, and competitive solutions to meet our planet's vital power needs. The way we do that is across three business segments. We create cyber-physical products for the civil aviation business, where we have both short-haul solutions and long-haul solutions. Then the defense industry, and finally, the power systems industry, which consists of cyber-physical products for the rail industry, for yachts and marines, and your gold diggers in the mines. Now, Rolls-Royce is very focused on having digital at the center of everything it does. So if you think of three concentric circles that start to overlap, where we have product, we have service, and then we have digital coinciding with one another, we are busy setting out a vision for the future where those circles fully overlap, where an engine will be connected, contextually aware, and comprehending. Our experts design, test, and even maintain these engines digitally, where we work with customers collaboratively to understand and harness their data. We are very much pioneers, and we want to lead the way. And once again, with focusing on creating cyber-physical products enhanced by cyber-physical services, supported by cyber-physical processes, our focus is on providing value to our customers. Now, R² Data Labs is the data innovation catalyst inside Rolls-Royce. It exists to deliver untapped value from data, acting as a development hub for new services that improve the way we and our customers operate. We do this by three means. One is where we focus on perfecting the digital twin to drive continuous data innovation and to enable a digital-first culture. Within R² Data Labs, there's a very important function that we have, which is what we call the ecosystem team, where we seek to partner with pioneering cutting-edge startups, scale-ups, and large enterprises. Gennie Neo is one of our venturing incubation leads based out of Singapore. Gennie, I'll hand over to you to share with us a little bit around what we do in ecosystem in R² Data Labs.
And Gennie, before you explain to us the ecosystem, I have a question for you. Navid mentioned digital twin. What does that even mean? What is a digital twin?
It's the digital representative of the physical product and the environment it operates in. So Rolls-Royce has decades of experience of using data for gaining insight. Okay, pre-COVID, we at any time would have looked at about 13,000 engines and potentially 6,000 to 8,000 commercial flights that we would monitor per day. And to be able to do that, we have to gather billions of data points that are analyzed not just on the aircraft or on board, but are also relayed back into our business so that we can identify anomalies, issues that we can then signal back to people responsible for keeping you and me safe, so that we can continuously be able to get from destination A to destination B and be with our families.
That's for sure, definitely the goal. Now, Gennie, Navid mentioned this ecosystem that you're working on. You want to go a little bit about what this ecosystem is and what its goal is aiming for?
Yep, sure. So basically, in the ecosystem team within R Squared Data Labs, we do this thing of understanding our business needs, talking to our business stakeholders on what are some of the issues that they are facing internally, but at the same time also understanding what are some of the industry-related challenges or like market needs. And then at the same time, we look outside of the company to understand what are some of the companies that have certain capabilities that could really meet those business needs. And not just companies, so we are also looking at how we can build relationships with research institutes, government agencies, and basically the different entities in the ecosystem. So looking at how we can build the partnerships, looking at how we can leverage on each other's capabilities, and really driving new innovation and new insights through partnerships. So I think that's the core role of the ecosystem team in R Squared. And basically, we are looking at how we can work together with the different functions within R Squared and the different functions within the rest of the business. So supporting the civil aerospace, the defense, and the power systems business in driving innovation through partnerships. So I think that's like the core of what the ecosystem team does.
And just to add to that, Yonah, for a moment, you know, our focus in enabling all that is around boosting our digital culture and capability. You know, we work in multidisciplinary teams comprising of technical, business, and design expertise, where we understand the scope of the business problem, research using empathy-led interviews with our end users, and target key areas that enable us to quickly reach the goals for our customers and our business needs.
Now, it's really interesting that you guys keep on mentioning collaboration and partnerships. And, you know, if you look historically at big corporations, at big business, they weren't playing so nice with each other. You know, businesses guarded their own secrets. They had competitors. They viewed competitors as the enemy. And you guys are speaking much more in these inclusive terms, in collaboration and partnership and for the betterment of everyone. When do you think, Gennie, this is for you, when do you think was this change? What caused this change where all of a sudden, you know, we want ecosystems and companies are bringing in partners and want to play nicely with their competitors instead of, you know, trying to knock them off the game?
Yeah, I think, yeah, you are right. I think there's a period of time when companies are, I think, looking at a strategy of protecting their assets. So looking into like long-term R&D processes, really focusing on investing in some of the key capabilities and using those IP to protect themselves from their competitors. So I think there's a period of time when companies are doing that. And I think like in like recent years, we are seeing that most companies are looking at collaboration because they start to realize that by doing things themselves, they aren't able to be quick enough to adapt to what's needed in the market. And we can see that there are a lot of companies out there who are actually starting to disrupt industries. And I think it's this kind of trend that has caused like companies to start thinking about, is it more about us, you know, focusing on what we have and then losing out in terms of that speed and agility and also that leverage onto what like other companies are, you know, working on. So really, I think there's a period of time, and especially for Rolls-Royce, we are becoming more open. We are looking at open innovation, looking at how we can start to partner with companies, start to leverage and understand what are the other capabilities out there. And even like looking at how potentially some of the work that we are doing, partnering with other companies could create new innovation. So it's really about understanding like how markets are evolving and understanding that, you know, it's not about doing everything on ourselves. Yeah, we can actually move faster. We can actually look at new ideas if we actually partner with different entities out there.
Yeah. And that's such an amazing idea. You know, this idea of decentralized knowledge, of sharing knowledge, and the group being bigger than the sum of its parts. And I think that when people think historically, you go to the average consumer and you tell them Rolls-Royce, they think of luxury cars and the most luxurious of cars, really, really great cars, but they don't realize that Rolls-Royce is much more than automobiles. Rolls-Royce is the second largest maker of aircraft engines. Amongst, I'm sure, as you guys well know, amongst a lot of things. So when we take this idea of kind of being working better when sharing, working better when innovating together. So Navid, this one's for you. How does this idea of kind of this decentralized knowledge, but now with blockchain and with blockchain technology, this is a revolutionary technology. How does that fit in to Rolls-Royce, whether it be their cars or whether it be across their other many verticals of business as well?
So one thing to share is that Rolls-Royce is a very, very trusted brand. The need that it commands from the world is for us to always be at the cutting edge and the forefront of thinking. Not always easy when you think about it in terms of, so where do you put your focus? Do you put your focus in developing the technology or creating the environment where the technology can be applied to? If we wanted to create all the technologies in the world that would enable cognification, that would enable the fourth industrial revolution in all of its glory that it is, then that would be an extremely long and expensive journey. So what we do is we focus on the business problem that we're trying to solve. And the idea behind how we do that is understand the problem from the user's perspective, understand the challenges that they face. Focus on creating an environment where people can come and innovate in. And this is around the idea of bringing shared knowledge into a space where you can effectively create the ingredients for innovation to take place. And then the challenge and the focus for us often is, how do we lower those barriers of entry for people to be able to come and innovate within our environment? How can we launch proof of concepts to continuously prove out disruptive capabilities that are emerging 2, 3, 5 years down the line faster, so that we can stay competitive in the marketplace? And very much so, if we think about IoT and blockchain hand in hand for a moment, the amount of data that everyone is gathering is exponentially increasing. It's actually one of the spirits as to why we've called R squared R squared. You know, the squared is around exponential growth, exponential innovation, exponential adaptability. And so with blockchain, if we just come there for a moment, it's the opportunity is, right, developing something where you have a decentralized, immutable consensus. You can, automate your digital contracts. You have an auditable and secure environment for all the activities that take place. And you're able to collaborate across the tiers of the supply chain that you work with. However, the first starting point is, what is the business problem you're trying to solve, right? And then thus running these proof of concepts is extremely important to start breaking down these barriers of entry for disruptive technologies into our environment.
Mm-hmm. And so what are some of those business challenges that you guys have identified?
So one of these, which I'll hand over in a moment for Gennie to share with us on, is around how do we enable a connected supply chain throughout our networks? How do we enable more transparency and an auditable trail to lower the administrative margin of error and cost that takes place between these thousands and thousands of parties and people involved in pulling together a final product that we then use for powering the platforms that we provide power to. So Gennie, is this a good point maybe to pull you in, and you can share about a little bit around the proof of concepts that we're running?
Yes. So I think what Navid said in terms of how blockchain can be used in the supply chain is really just back to the business problem. So I think within the supply chain, sphere, I think industry-wide, there are certain challenges. And I think the vision essentially is to look at how, the supply chain can be interconnected. And I think in Rolls-Royce, we acknowledge that there's this problem, and we want to, work on like testing it out to use like small proof of concepts to actually evaluate blockchain as a technology, whether or not like this like technology can be applied in the aviation environment. So in this case, we actually did a blockchain innovation challenge that we did that completed last year, 2019. And from there, we looked at the MRO, which is the maintenance, repair, and overhaul use case. So it's essentially when an aircraft engine has an issue, it is still on the wing. There is an on-wing team where they look at the engine, where they look at whether or not it needs to be checked. And then from there, when it needs more maintenance activities, they will have to take it down. They have to move it to a maintenance, repair, and overhaul shop. And basically the engine is being stripped and more maintenance activity is done on the engine. So throughout the process, it actually involves multiple stakeholders and multiple transactions. Currently now, some of the processes actually involves quite a lot of manual paperwork, and like some of the processes are actually quite inefficient. So we're essentially looking at how we can potentially use blockchain as a technology to address some of these inefficiencies. So it could be in terms of increasing transparency. It could be in terms of tracking the different transactions that are coming in. And at the same time, looking at how it can actually build trust between different stakeholders or organizations that are involved in this process. So we use this maintenance, repair, and overhaul process as the main business like scenario and put out this challenge to startups. And in that blockchain innovation challenge, we invited startups to present ideas and solutions to how they can address this challenge and what kind of blockchain technologies or capabilities that they have. And we went through a shortlisting process and eventually picked out a company called Block Arrow. So they're actually working with us on a proof of concept at the moment. And that is actually involving some of our key partners as well. So it involves our line maintenance partner, which is SI Engineering Company, and also Sazel, which is our maintenance, repair, and overhaul shop. So in a sense, this POC is a multi-party kind of proof of concept to really test out how different stakeholders or different parties can interact on a platform, how the transaction can actually take place, and how we can actually build trust between the different stakeholders. So that's a proof of concept that is going on right now. Yeah.
That sounds very exciting because it seems like a perfect match. It seems like blockchain has so far shown it's a really good use case, especially at an enterprise level for supply chains, and especially with Rolls-Royce, where it's manufacturing. And it's manufacturing, not just manufacturing things for fun or manufacturing things productivity, but manufacturing things like airplane engines and cars where safety is paramount. And so I think it's a wonderful proof of concept you guys are doing, because it seems like a wonderful match to both get that transparency and that trust that comes with the blockchain, and it fits really well with the work that Rolls-Royce is doing. But my question on top of that to both of you, whichever wants to answer, is especially now where we're seeing the development of electronic cars and cars becoming smarter, and our transportation becoming smarter. And Navid, you mentioned before IoT, Internet of Things, where things are becoming connected and smart connected. Where do you see the role of blockchain or any other kind of decentralized or distributed ledger technology, the role in the future where cars are automated, cars are talking to each other, automated fleets? What do you see the role of this emerging technology potentially there in the future?
A small hygiene note. So we're less focused on cars these days and much more focused on aerospace, defense, and power systems industries. So I will talk to that. In terms of, there's a separate business for the Rolls-Royce cars itself. Mm-hmm. And our business is focused on
The question, this
Rolls-Royce
question still
Aerospace.
stands
And
for
absolutely,
aerospace
absolutely.
or.
So going back to, where is this going in terms of all things connected and all things contextually aware, all things able to make decisions by verifying, trusting, and being able to perform to the guaranteed levels that it has been set out to perform. And this is where I see, one of the strongest opportunities for blockchain and, edge connectivity, edge IoT, and all these concepts coming out. Edge IoT is not a new concept for us in Rolls-Royce. We have engine monitoring units on our engines, and these are attached to sensors, thousands of sensors on an engine that capture information every second. The next phase is where the supply chain, the government, because we have to go through certification processes. When we want to get the engine off the production line and take it into service, we have to go through certification processes to ensure that the engine will perform to the standards and criteria that it needs to perform. And so when we think about the fact that autonomy is needed by the sensors to record, act, and behave the way that they should, to verify versus the certification that it went through, to verify with any actions, corrective actions that need to take place, and to be able to then create the support mechanisms for where those actions need to take place. So as Gennie talked about our maintenance, repair, and overhaul as a user case, how do we notify our suppliers to ensure that we have the parts that we need in the places that we need at the right time that we need it, to the right standards that we need it, to carry out all the necessary corrective actions to get you back moving as fast as possible. And so as we get better at implementing edge sensing capability, edge monitoring capability, edge decision-making capability, you need a trusted framework in the background where you have an auditable, transparent, and decentralized and connected trail to maximize the benefits that IoT and edge management can give you.
Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest pros, let's say, the biggest strengths of blockchain is its ability to kind of be connected, but be secure and protected from other parties and untrustworthy parties. And you mentioned one of the big arms of Rolls-Royce today is defense systems. Has the defense community reached out to you guys? I mean, you guys are doing incredible work. Has the defensive community reached out and interested in this new emerging technology?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, so we are carrying out proof of concepts across all, our business segments. And what we do is, as with any strategy, you look to prove out different parts of your proof of concepts so that when it comes to rolling it out at an enterprise level, you're not having to revalidate all of the business cases that you seek to develop in different parts. That way, you're maximizing your return on investment as a result of it. So we are also proving out supply chain in the context of our defense business for blockchain as well. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, Gennie, you mentioned before. I mean, we spoke about this kind of sharing of knowledge and this inclusiveness, and Rolls-Royce doesn't just manufacture and produce, but you guys also educate as well. You guys are educated, and you guys work with various universities. And there's a lot of university students watching this, who are kind of stuck at home because they can't go to school because of COVID-19 has shut down this in-person learning that we've become used to and accustomed to. And so what kind of work is Rolls-Royce doing with universities and other corporate education programs in order to help educate, the kind of the future workforce that will eventually, some of them, end up working at R-Squared Data Labs.
Yes, so that's exactly one of our initiatives that we are doing right now. So I'll just talk a little bit more. Navid can actually come in to elaborate. So this is an initiative called the Digital Academy. So basically, it is basically one of the ways that we within R-Squared Data Labs, we help to upskill our employees. I think during this period of time, we realized that these kinds of resources could be quite useful for the wider community as well, given that, as you mentioned, people are staying at home, people are looking at what are some of the different skills that they need to build up to actually address some of the new job market needs post-COVID. So in the Digital Academy, we are actually putting some of our courses that we developed for our Rolls-Royce people, but now we are opening up to the public. And we are encouraging people to actually sign up for them through some of our partners, such as edX and others. So there are a list of resources that you can find on our Digital Academy website. And yeah, this is basically one of the ways that we are looking at how, some of the things that we have as Rolls-Royce, we want to open it up to the public to access and to really help the public to see, what are some of the skills that they can, learn from these resources that can help them in the future.
Yeah. Navid, do you have anything to add on that?
Absolutely. So thank you for that introduction, Gennie. The Digital Academy teaches you the tools and mindset you need to thrive in a digital world. I touched earlier upon how we use proof of concepts for testing out different ideas and different business segments. You asked me about defense, and there are different parts of whether we're trying to prove out lower transaction speeds, or how do we fix the standards issue in terms of adopting common standards, etc. These are experiments at the end of the day, and really, when we think about it, there are two aspects to learning anything in life. There's the technical know-how, but then there's the mindset, and very much the mindset that we promote is, how do you get comfortable with experimenting? How do you become more bold and agile in the way that you do things and you think about things? How do you use concepts where you think about value-driven activities first? So you're not just thinking about fixing a problem, but a problem that matters. COVID has changed the world as we know it right now. So as Rolls-Royce is very well on its path in being a global technology company, we've really been able to develop resilience to bring digital. Apart from focusing on the technical learning and the cultural learning in our business, we've decided to take some of our goodness outside of Rolls-Royce as well. And this is where we are offering courses in partnership, as Gennie mentioned, through platform providers like edX, where we are targeting homeschoolers, school leavers, virtual upskillers, and sharing in growth networks to effectively, continuously build up on their knowledge and experience in different aspects of digital, both from the technical learning and from the cultural awareness side as well.
Wow. Gennie, you're venturing an incubation lead there at R-Squared Data Labs. What's the project that you're most excited about?
What's the project that I'm most excited about in Rolls-Royce that I'm currently doing? Yeah,
you're venturing, you're incubating. What's the one that you look at, you're like, wow, that's like so cool. I cannot wait, for it to take off.
Yeah, I think all of them are really cool. I think I will just pick the one that is quite interesting for us, which is the blockchain project. I think why I think it's interesting, because essentially we are looking at how an industry, which is the aviation industry, where it's very siloed. Like different companies are, still operating within their own silos. And eventually what we want to achieve, the future vision is where like the industry is interconnected. We have different information being shared with each other, knowledge being shared with each other, and we can build on that together. So it's a really interesting project because it's a small step towards that vision. But at the same time, we are bringing together the aviation community. Currently, right now, we have 3 or 4 partners, and we want. So currently we have 4 partners right now, 3 aviation companies and 1 blockchain company working on this proof of concept. And really we want to look at how we can work together with a larger community, bring together different aviation players to really look at this concept and drive towards this vision. So yeah, I think this is a really interesting project. It's a small step towards a big vision. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very exciting. Well, I mean, all this talk about where the world is going, and it's so cool to hear that that not just small projects, because every day I speak to small projects who are working on changing the world with blockchain, and they have big dreams, but they don't always have the big infrastructure to back them up. So it's really good and nice to be able to hear that even the big corporations like Rolls-Royce are kind of getting behind the technology and really trying to push the envelope, and not just push the envelope so they can pull themselves forwards, but also bring everyone along with them. So Navid and Gennie, I really like to thank you guys for joining me today and kind of explaining to all our viewers out there, what the future of corporate blockchain might actually look like. Navid and Gennie, thank you so much. And for all our viewers at home for Reimagine 2020, I'm Yonah Hochhauser. Thanks for watching.